Alright, so this is just a short update video on my 85 IROC-Z Turbo 4.8 build. I think since my last video I've added some gauges. I made a bezel out of real carbon fiber. I just hate the faux stuff. It looks cheesy. I don't care. Like anybody thinks, it looks cheesy. But I've got my speedometer, wideband, oil pressure, and tack. I can hook up a shift light. I still have it actually sitting down there from when I used to drag race this. I don't know if I'll bother with that. We'll see. I've got my water temp and I need to get a boost gauge. And instead of running A-pillar gauges, I'm probably most likely just going to run my gauges down there somehow. I just don't like the idea of pillar gauges. Try not to make this thing too damn flashy. You know what I mean? The 4-inch cowl hood's about as far as I really want to go with that. You know, try to go that sleeper mullet status. You know, wear your mullet under the hat kind of deal. The way you really blow their doors off. I get a lot of questions about how my CX Racing turbo kit fits, and the answer is really well. Any roadblock I've ran into has strictly been due to the fact that I'm not running a stock style LS engine, you know, thrown right into this with a power steering pump and all that good stuff, or the intake. I'm running the Holley mid-rise. I don't have power steering. I don't need it. I've got the Ford Pinto style Flaming River rack and pinion, so I got an alternator only kit, which took a little while to figure out, you know, the one I was going to get, just because I wanted something that was going to work best with the least amount of modification. So I'll talk a little bit about that. So originally, it's the ICT billet alternator kit. The alternator was interfering with the cross pipe, something fierce. So it sits up higher than it was with, you know, with the original kit. What I did was that bolt right there, I put that in the alternator. Let's see. And it runs, let's see, that bolt goes right in there on one of the brackets they provide you in the kit. And I turned the alternator clockwise, and that brought it up out of the way of the cross pipe. And I just kind of took one of the other brackets that went with the kit and modified it, for lack of a better term, to hold the alternator. It's actually pretty solid. I want to make up another bracket just to be on the safe side. I'd rather overbuild than under. Went with the Champion 8292 Camaro LS swap radiator. It's the problem I was having. I had a B-cool, and the neck up top was running right into the, you know, the intercooler, the cold side pipe. So I just went with this, and all I really have to do now is just get a couple hoses, find the right ones, mount them. I had to go with a straight neck. That was something else I ran into. Let's see. I had to go with a straight neck for the lower on the water pump, just because otherwise it's going to go into the pipe coming off the wastegate. But that'll work fine. Just got to get the right hoses for them. I got the whole kit. Came with the dual electric fans, the shroud, the harnesses, the relays. Awesome kit. Fourth gen Camaro. Throttle cable. Again, that worked perfectly. I mean, that couldn't have went any better. I got an input-output harness for my ECM. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run those fans individually off the ECM based on the engine temps. The kit came with a thermostat you mount in the block, so 185 degrees, and once your engine reaches that temp, it'll send a negative or ground signal to the relays, and that'll complete the circuit. Your relay will start sending power to the fans. I didn't want to do that. I want to run it off my ECM. Since I already have a thermostat for it, you know, might as well. I'm in love with this Holley HP EFI setup. So just give you a quick tour on how to run those or how to pin those two outputs. When you get that harness, it comes with 4 outputs and 4 inputs. There's 8 wires each. So for my fans, for example, okay, you would click on this. It's already done for us. You got your basic I/O and your input outputs. So we'll just go here first. You can see we got electric fan 1 and 2, but they're not highlighted. So what you do, go to basic I/O, input output. I'm running 2 fans, so I'm going to select fan number 1 and fan number 2. Now if you're running only 1 fan, then just select fan number 1. Come back down here. Okay, you'll see where they're both highlighted. They're both standing out now. It says ECU pin not defined. You've got positive and ground, but you really can't do anything with that yet. What you need to do is go to your pin map. So the thermostat that came with the kit was going to send a negative 12 volt or a ground signal to the relays when the engine reached 185 degrees. So I need to run a negative input. When the engine reaches a temperature, my ECM will see that through the thermostat, and it'll send the output signals to the relays individually. So you would go to view outputs. You can now see where there's electric fan number 1 and electric fan number 2. Those will not show up unless you select those earlier on like I did. You click and you drag. So fan number 1 will go to output 3. Fan number 2, output 4. Select done, and you'll see where output 3 and output 4, well, they did, will have little negative symbols. I got 2 outputs left, and they're both positive. I'm not planning on using those anytime soon for anything. All I really need were the fans. Bam, there you go. They're now pinned. On the harness, they will be wires G and H. But that's, like I said, I used to love carburetors. I still do. I still have a love for them. You know, this car used to be carbureted, turbo 350 behind it, and hauled ass, great running car. But you can't go wrong going a fuel injected LS. You know, Holley makes a ton of stuff, and I've been really, really impressed with this build. I've learned a lot from it. The engine's just about completely done. I'm planning on going with a T56 Magnum transmission and the Hawks 8.8 M8 or M88, whichever you want to call it. Rear end they make for these bolt end. 9-inch Fords are pretty good, but they bottom out and they're really, really bad if you're going to lower the car, and this thing is going to be lowered. I'm probably just going to get some iBox sport lines. But other than that, that's an update on my build. So feel free to ask any questions. I usually get back to you pretty quick as long as I'm not working too hard.